Many 19th century seaports have historically attracted red light districts notorious for prostitution due to the volume of male sailors, their transient nature, and limited social outlets while docked at port. Port Townsend became no exception, with the bulk of brothel activity concentrated along the waterfront and downtown areas. Documented on the city's 1891 fire department map were over 20 premises classified as IF, or ill fame. Buggy Lane, located on the pathway extension of Adams Street between Washington and Jefferson Streets, reportedly wedged in 4 brothels alone. The territory is currently absent of structures. Situated against the rear wall of the City Hall, currently the Jefferson Museum of Art, in the same building was the notorious Green Light Bar and House of Ill Repute. The most concentrated assemblage occupied a building on the current grounds of Pope Marine Park. That raised green space would be ceremoniously named in 1974 after John Byron Pope, a local 10-year superintendent of parks. Cotton Engineering and Shipbuilding would sell the land to the city. The original track stretched from Madison Street to the west extremity to Monroe Street as the eastern boundary. Water Street fronted the north, and the Port Townsend shoreline the south. Based on the map layout, the existing property appeared to accommodate 3 separate buildings. The furthest west was called the Port Townsend Foundry and Machine Shop, then later the Madison Street Marine Ways. Cotton Engineering acquired the property in 1945, relocating a warehouse positioned on the shoreline that washed out their cement mixer equipment out onto the sands. The residue coated the sands with a surface coat of cement. 2 structures to the east were classified as female boarding houses on the city's 1888 Sanborn Plat map. The designation was clear. The buildings became an acknowledged den of vice and prominent fixture within the infamous Flats district. Many of the rooming houses were diminutive cribs, scarcely fitting a bed. This tight spacing created a time-efficient environment for the average sex workers attempting to maximize revenue. The buildings were ironically located across the street from the city hall and jail. Prostitution, saloons, and gambling were lucrative local enterprises. Policemen routinely rounded up sex workers, presuming their madams would arrive to bail them out and pay all accumulating vice-related fines. Despite this civic financial windfall, not every public official concluded his participation share was appropriate. In a 1907 article of the Leader newspaper, a dispute was recorded between the chief of police and city magistrate over collected fees. A fistfight culminated between the 2 men. Saloons proliferated downtown, and one of the most renowned, formerly located on the intersection of Washington and Monroe Street, was the Star, that featured a large stage and dance floor. The saloon environment enabled the common practice of crimping, also known as shanghaiing. Ship captains were habitually short of crews and sometimes employed the services of crimpers. The popular perceived tales of misfortune often plagued unattached young men who trawled the waterfront bars seeking entertainment or simply a night of revelry. Frequently, these individuals would be provided spiked drinks, get knocked out upon the head, or fall through strategically located bar trapdoors. When they awoke, they would find themselves seaboard on ships, obliged into working hard labor for months or even years. Some of the most reputed Pacific Northwestern shanghaiing ports included Portland and Astoria, Oregon, along with Aberdeen, Tacoma, and Seattle, Washington. Many of these violent stories were authentic, but the truth in numerous instances was far more banal. Experienced sailors freshly discharged from sea would arrive at ports flush with earnings. They would be welcomed by a stalking port crimp offering reasonable room and board. Over time and unemployment, the sailors would incur debts beyond their capacity to repay. When ship captains arrived into port, they solicited crimpers who had accumulated an inventory of debtors. The captain would settle their debt and get skilled workers, enabling him to restock fresh crews. The practice was never considered ethical or legal, but simply a transaction capitalizing on the sailors' lack of financial acumen and discipline, coupled by ship captains' inexhaustible requirements for crew members.